Greetings, beloved. I'm Dr. Felicia LeBoy, lead pastor and life coach here at the historic First United Methodist Church in downtown Elgin, Illinois, with another motivational moment from the Bible. These motivational moments are designed to help you take what you hear in church on Sunday, what you may hear online or see on YouTube, what you may even read during your private devotional time, to take those biblical concepts and to make them a part of your everyday life. If you have been joining us in worship over the last few Sundays, you know that we are preparing for the National Back to Church Sunday, which is September the 17th. As a part of that Back to Church movement, which is designed to kind of coincide with the whole back to school idea, the idea is that as people are coming back to school, kind of getting back into their fall routines, about how do we help people make church a part of their uh, back to fall back to their routine. How do we help people think about church in the same kind of way? As we are thinking about that, I want you to think about this idea of up and out. Up and out. Part of what people know who research evangelism and things like that, I'm one of those kind of people. Part of what we know is that 90% of the way that people get to church is because someone invites them and someone brings them. The problem often is that most of us who are Christians only hang out with people that are like us. And when different people show up, we want different people to be like us. Now, this isn't the first time that the church has had this problem. Early on in the book of Acts, there is persecution that happens in the church, right? You all remember kind of when Paul was Saul and he persecuted Christians. If not, just go back and look in like Acts chapter like 11 and 12. There's like a stoning incident, and it's too much for today. But anyway, so what happens is the church gets scattered. It gets forced to go beyond its walls. And as Christians move out beyond the four walls of their temple, beyond the four walls of their church, as they go beyond what they're used to, and they're in different kinds of spaces, they begin to encounter Gentiles more and more. And as they encounter Gentiles more and more, and they begin to tell them not a bunch of statements and hit them over the head with the scriptures, but they began to tell them about what God has done in their own lives through Jesus. Gentiles began to want to be a part of this faith movement. In fact, Gentiles had always wanted to be a part of the movement of the people of faith. It's just that Jews had all of these rules that Gentiles had to do before they could be a part of the people of God. They wanted grown men to circumcise themselves, which wasn't happening. They had all these food rules, which wasn't happening. And so, even the Christians who started off as Jews brought those traditions into Christianity. And as Gentiles came in, they wanted them to hold to those same traditions. Beloved, you and I do the same thing. We can't separate, or we don't often know how to separate what's tradition and what's Christianity. It's very simple. Christ and Him crucified. Our music is not what makes us Christian. Our style of dress is not what makes us Christian. Christ and Him crucified. And so, what happens in this particular passage is that as people are coming, the Pharisees who've become Christian, they're kind of saying these folks are not really Christian unless they become like us. And Peter tells them, listen, um, we couldn't keep all the rules. Why are we going to hinder people from coming because we have all of these rules about what's church? And we have all these rules about who's in and who's out. Now, we may not think we do that, but we do have that. We have our own little cliques, right? We have groups that we're used to being with, and it's hard to break into those groups. A friend of mine, Ramal Toon, says sometimes getting into church is like being jumped into a gang. Who invites us? Yes, we want people to be invited on Sunday morning, but who invites us to the time when people gather for coffee, maybe on Tuesday night, or gather together for a beer, or gather together for just to hang out? People are lonely and they need to be connected, and we've got to find a way to connect new people to the body of believers and help them be a part of the family of faith. It's part of what our branches group is all about. finding ways to connect people who normally wouldn't be connected at all, and not making this really hard. All it is about sharing the message of Jesus Christ and letting God work with people right where they are and seeing what new perspectives we can learn. What is the new thing we can learn about God if we just reach out to people who are different? Well, Pastor, I don't want to be uncomfortable. Well, hanging on a cross is uncomfortable. See, beloved, the whole point is this: you and I are in covenant with God. It's like being married, right? Everything I do for my husband Adrian is not comfortable, it's not convenient, it's not because I like it. When he's sick, he throws up. He's sick in the evening, and I got to be there all night, or I've got to take him to the doctor or run around. It's not convenient, it's not comfortable. I may not want to do it, but he and I are in relationship with one another. And I've already made up my mind to say yes. That's the way that we are to be with God. We are to reach up to God during the day, during our time with God privately, so that we can reach out to others. Beloved, the challenge this week is to reach up to God and out to others. As we are going about our day, as we are in the grocery store, as we are getting coffee, as we are going to visit a loved one, maybe in a nursing home, as we are just moving about our natural day, to say to God, here I am, Lord, send me. Who would you have me to smile at? Who would you have me to talk to? Who would you have me to reach out to bring a cup of cold water to? Beloved, your life and my life is to be shaped like a cross, up to God and out to others, to be marked by the great commandment to love ourselves, to love God, and to love others, and the great commission to be reaching out to other people, up and out. That's how our lives are supposed to be marked. Our focus is not to be on heaven, our focus is to be as people who are assured of heaven, to be trying to bring as many folks home with us as we can, up and out. And not to get so caught up on the rules, when to stand, when to sit, what's the right music, what's not. To get so caught up on the rules that we make it hard for people to come to God. Won't you pray this week and ask God, who has He intended for you to talk to Him about how good He is, or minister to about how good He is and the things that He wants to do in and through them? And won't you make a plan to invite someone for Back to Church Sunday? It should be a blast. Not only at our church, but there are 40,000 churches around the nation that God intends to open up and do wonderful things with. Invite somebody. And in case you think I'm crazy, stick around for this week's Refresh Your Soul moment, which is YWAM Kona Music, yes, from Hawaii. And the song is The Commission. Beloved, I am Dr. Felicia LeBoy, lead pastor and life coach here at the historic First United Methodist Church in downtown Elgin, Illinois. Be blessed, and I'll see you here next week.